Our breaking news tonight is an angry Ben Carson goes off on reporters for asking questions about his past. And as we monitor him speaking tonight in Florida, we'll dip in if we have to, if he says anything that we think is worthy of putting on the air. Let's talk about this. So joining me now is Bob Beckel, CNN political commentator and author of I Should Be Dead, My Life Surviving Politics, TV and Addiction. R. Albert Mohler Jr., president of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary and author of We Cannot Be Silent. Stacy Washington, host of Radio Stacy on the right, and Carl Higbie is in studio with me, author and former Navy SEAL who is a Trump supporter. Hello to you, Mr. Beckel. Dr. Ben Carson addressed reporters tonight. Let's listen.
There is a desperation on behalf of some to try to find a way to tarnish me because they have been looking through everything. They have been talking to everybody I've ever known, everybody I've ever seen. There's got to be a scandal. There's got to be some nurse he's having an affair with. There's got to be something. They are getting desperate. So next week, it'll be my kindergarten teacher who said I peed in my pants. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But it's okay because I totally expect it.
I mean, Bob, what's your reaction? That's all true. Welcome to running for president.
Yeah, I was about to say, welcome to the big show, Dr. Carson. Look, but in the question, is this going to hurt him? In the short run, I think it's probably going to help him with the Republican activists who believe that all this is true, what he's saying about the media. But in the long run, he's going to lose. I mean, you cannot beat them. I've been through this before. If you're going to tell a lie, you better be sure the lie can't be unfurled before the voters go to the polls. And, you know, to write something down, I mean, with all due respect to Hugh Hewitt, but to write something down about a West Point scholarship in a book, I mean, you get to read your book, to edit it. You could have said, gee, I better not say that.
Yeah, but it's common knowledge that West Point doesn't give scholarships.
Yeah, and it wasn't tough.
Yeah.
All you do is pick up the phone and call, right?
Yeah, so why are you shaking your head, Dr. Mohler?
Well, because I don't think this is a story at all. I think the American people are going to see through it. This plays right into Ben Carson's narrative and why he's getting so much traction. I mean, first of all, to get to West Point is to get a scholarship. Every student at West Point gets a scholarship. In his book, all he said was that General William Westmoreland or someone else had offered him a scholarship or admission. He was the top ROTC student in the high school system of Detroit. There's every reason to believe that that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so Dr. Mohler,
offer,
listen to this then.
Yeah.
How about say what you said? Listen, these questions are ridiculous. But it happens every time someone runs for president. I am happy that this is happening because it means that I'm now in the big leagues and at the top of the polls, and this is what happened. So I will answer your question with glee, and then move on. How about that?
Well, I think that's actually what's going to happen, and I think Ben Carson understands exactly what's going on. And this was a really bad day for Politico. They've even rewritten their headline. You've got many in the mainstream media.
I understand that, but you're talking about Politico. But what about what I asked, though? How about taking that tack?
I believe actually you make a very legitimate point. I think you make a very legitimate point, and I think that's exactly what he needs to do. And I think he's got nothing to run from here. He has one of the most heroic stories in modern America,
right.
and I believe he has every opportunity and, frankly, the responsibility. The only point I think that really needs to be made today that you're making in a way that needs to be heard by every candidate is if you're going to run for president, you're going to have to look in the camera and answer these questions.
Okay, Dr. Mohler.
Look, he's a
neurosurgeon.
I believe he needs to do just that.
And he has a great story, and if he does it, it's all in the way you shape the narrative. It's all in the way that you pivot and turn the story. Stacy, you say that you love Dr. Carson for his personal story, but not as president. Why is that?
Well, I'm not decided right now, Don. I've had time to look at all of the candidates, and I've gone to their websites, and I've heard a lot of what they've had to say on the campaign trail. And for Dr. Carson, he still needs to earn my vote as far as being able to govern. And so I'm looking at the way that he's handling all of the scandals, everything that's going on, or I shouldn't say scandals, these incidents with the media where he has to answer questions. And I understand he's passionate about a lot of what he's talking about, but I want to see how he handles these things, how he can control the message, how his campaign can ramp up and basically rise to the level that he's operating at, which is top-tier candidate.
Okay, Carl, another portion of what Carson said tonight. Listen to this.
Here's my prediction. My prediction is that all of you guys trying to pile on is actually going to help me. Because when I go out to these book signings and I see these thousands of people, they say, don't let the media get you down. Don't let them disturb you. Please continue to fight for us. See, they understand that this is a witch hunt.
So he says, Carl, the media is piling on, but Donald Trump jumped on this. I mean, he has been tweeting about Ben Carson, West Point, this knifing incident, Ben Carson and the pyramids. Does Donald Trump see an opportunity here?
Absolutely, and the entire American public and the press and everybody sees this. I mean, look at what made Ben Carson rise to the top, and that was his trustworthiness. 70-something% of Americans liked him because they thought he was trustworthy. Now he's got this problem. This completely erodes his entire base, and it's going to bring Trump back right on top.
And Carl, he's running, Bob, he's running on his personal story, on his trustworthiness, and really what the American public has comes from the books and his personal biography.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, let me give you an example. As you just made a point out, and I think it's important. When I managed Mondale's campaign, Geraldine Ferraro ran into all kinds of trouble about releasing her tax returns and what her husband did and the rest of it. She finally decided to stand in front of the press for 3.5 hours and answered every question, and that's what she said. Ask me anything you want and I'll answer it, and it went away. So, I mean, you got to expect this. And if Carson has the sense that I think he does, he's a smart guy, he's going to reach the conclusion here that he's not going to be getting a lot of traction by just beating up on the press. He just ought to answer the questions.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.